So let us pretend that you just got Sea of Thieves. You picked your pirate, what the f is that? And completed your maiden voyage. And now you have been tossed into this huge open world, but you have no clue on what to do. Well, luckily, I'm here and I'll show you what I would do during my first day on the seas. So one of the first things the game will be telling you to do is get a voyage from one of the factions. However, I wouldn't bother with these at level 1. They simply aren't worth your time. Instead, you should head towards the seafort. But before you jump on your ship and take off, you should go to the shipwright and buy some supplies. Oh wait, you aren't a captain, so you can't do that yet. Alright, since you're not a captain, you should go to the Merchant Alliance and buy yourself a storage crate and a cannonball crate. Oh wait, you don't have any gold yet. Okay, this is what you should do. You should run around on the island checking out the barrels for anything useful, but I wouldn't spend too much time doing this. Because this is your first day, there's a high chance that you will actually sink, and if your ship sinks, you lose all your supplies. So I would just grab a couple of handfuls and take off. Also, if you can, you should grab a friend to play with you. It simply just makes the game much easier for you, and it's very nice to actually be able to sail with somebody else. Another smart thing you could do before leaving the outpost is to check the emissary tables next to each faction. If there's a small boat on the table, it means that somebody out there has chosen to represent that company. The most important one to check is the Reaper's table. The Reaper's Bones faction is a PvP faction, and even if you aren't looking for PvP or representing a company, they will most likely still go for you. Luckily for you though, a Reaper emissary is always marked on the map, so you know exactly where they are. You might be thinking to yourself, why would they choose to represent this company that marks them on the map? Well, the thing about the Reaper's Bones is that you can actually sell anything to them. Doesn't matter what faction it's from, you can sell it all to them and get a huge emissary bonus for it as well. Also, when you reach level 5 as a Reaper emissary, you get the ability to see other emissaries on your map. Since it's your first day, I highly recommend staying away from these players until you start feeling more confident in yourself and your crew, then you can start fighting the Reapers. Now with all of that out of the way, I would head towards the sea fort. These forts are fairly easy and they offer up good supplies and loot for you to take. But while you're doing the fort, be sure to keep an eye out on the horizon for incoming ships. Sea of Thieves is, after all, a PvP game. I recommend scanning the horizon every 5 minutes or so. Another thing I highly recommend doing is taking out skeleton sloops. If you manage to sink these ships, you will get more treasure and a storage crate, which will allow you to take items from barrels very quickly. While sailing around, it's important to keep your eyes open for opportunities. Dom and I had spotted this galleon that was anchored near an island. Even though the galleon is the biggest ship on the seas, it's quite slow, so if Dom and I could get behind it, they wouldn't stand a chance. However, it turns out the ship had been abandoned and it sunk to the bottom of the ocean. But we did get 2 treasure chests out of it, so that was a plus. Now remember, Sea of Thieves is not all about being efficient and hoarding vast amount of treasure. Sometimes you have to take your time to mess with your friends.
No, please.
At this point, you probably noticed these strange clouds in the sky. Well, these clouds are called world events. But since you're new, there's only 2 world events I can recommend you going for. The first one being the regular Skull Fort, and the second one being the Ashen Wind. We had spotted an Ashen Wind earlier, so we decided to head towards it. The objective of the Ashen Wind is to defeat an Ashen Lord. Simply equip your blunderbuss and keep spamming it. An easy way to deal with the skeletons is to use your sword and dash through them. Also, remember to park your ship far away from the island, because the Ashen Lord can do heavy damage to it. If you get bored of fighting him, simply hit him with your kill move and he goes down. Another great way to get treasure is to simply look around on islands. You never know what might have washed up. Now, if you encounter one of these mermaid statues, then be careful. They will damage you if you get too close. Also, take note of the color of it. If it's blue, then you can easily take it out. If it's green, then you might have some trouble with it. If it's red, don't even bother unless you got access to a bunch of powder kegs or a Disney stick. While searching the island, Dom had found a chicken coop and I wanted to show him something.
Oh my god, it's so cruel.
Yeah, that is right. You can bury stuff, even animals. Man, this game is messed up on so many levels. After that rather off-tilted experience, we spotted a sloop that we thought we could catch. But they ran away. Even though this is a PvP game, it doesn't mean that anyone owes you a fight. If they want to run, they can run. It's just the way the game is. Luckily for us though, a Reaper was chasing us. His name is the Nobel. I know, I said you should stay away from these players if you're new. However, Dom and I aren't new players, and we were itching for a fight.
There he goes. Oh, you boarded him, Jesus.
Yeah. I'm dead. I killed one of them. In situations like this, it's paramount to find out what you're dealing with. What we learned from our board was, they don't pay much attention to their ladders. With this in mind, Dom would attempt to board while I was on the respawn screen.
I'm on them. Load the anchor. Killed one. Killed two. Oh, I'm dead.
With Dom managing to get on their ship and killing 2 of them and lowering their anchor, it had bought me enough time to get into position to unleash a barrage of cannonballs on them. With their ship disabled, I jumped into the cannon and I launched myself at them. It was time to end this.
Nice.
There it goes.
Stay alive. This is not where our journey ends. Wait, my hit me dead too. Wait.
Oh!
Watch still stand.
I'm dead. They sorted me to death. I think they're still alive now. I have to be honest with you. The PvP in Sea of Thieves can at times be messy. Mainly, it's the hit registration issues that are plaguing the game. Sometimes when you hit or shoot your enemies, the damage just won't register. That is why I lost that sword fight. If you're trying to get into Sea of Thieves, then this is simply something you just have to suffer with. Rare is working on a fix though. Anyway, back to the action. They say all good things happen in threes. Well, this was my 3rd board, and I would make sure that this was my final one.
Hit him again. Okay, I've hit him so many fucking times. They must be dead now.
They're dead. The Cosme Mobile is down. We did it.
Like his career. Bottom of the ocean.
Read all about the Cosme Mobile. There's one thing that is very important to do after sinking an emissary, and this is it. After that victory, we decided that it was time to sell our loot. Dom and I are captains, so we can sell our items to the summoners. But since you're new, you'll have to sell them to the different factions. It's not that complicated, you'll figure it out. After selling your loot, you should put all your supplies in a storage crate and leave it at the end of the dock, for another pirate to pick up. This is not something you have to do, but it's good karma, so you should do it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, this has been your friend Nobelnaga, signing off.